Well, hi, good morning, everyone. It's Richard Wade, ruralcrimes.com, and welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, I have a request for you. This is a very straightforward proposition for you good selves, and it's just that you subscribe to the channel. For those of you who've been here before, you'll notice that every now and then we jump on and we just do a topic of interest, and we talk about general farm safety matters, we talk about rural crime prevention, and the idea is for me to give you free information and updates about what's going on in that particular world. So that's what today's all around. We did a presentation 2 weeks ago with Jim Clark. So Jim from the Nature Watch Foundation, a former rural crime police officer, and what it turns out is that's the most watched video that we've produced so far in 2025. And it involves animals and it involves activities that people do around animals. And it's quite scary. And it got people's attention rather. And what we took from that is people want to hear about animal safety, animal cruelty. But more importantly, what's going on out in the countryside, what's happening in the farmers' fields today that's distressing and killing animals that we can do something about. And you'll see the theme of that throughout my talks and all of my content that I put out on LinkedIn and YouTube and on our Facebook page. It's all about information. So we give away lots of free content, lots of free information about what people can do, what tangible actions, things that people can take away from our chats and our videos and our talks. And we give away lots of free documents and slides and presentations. And the idea is really, really simple. Take it away, read through it, watch the videos, engage where you can, but do something. So it's all about taking action. It's all about actually doing something. So before we kick in then, I have a request for you. Please subscribe to the channel. So we're going to put lots of content out in 2025, and it's going to be all about rural crime prevention and farm safety. We're going to bring in some great guests. We've already had some wonderful talks this year already. So over the last 2 weeks, we've had Jim Clark on from Nature Watch that I've just mentioned to you. And also we've had Barry Carey from Southern Ireland from the Irish Farmers Association, the Rural Crime Prevention Executive. And those have been really, really interesting. And a lot of people have sat up and paid attention to those and have logged in and watched the videos. So thank you for doing that. Going forward, we've also got some wonderful guests lined up and confirmed already. So you'll have seen my post this week where we've managed, and I'm really, really appreciative that Kate Tudor from Durham University, who, if you work in or you know anything about rural crime, you'll have heard of Kate. She does some wonderful research and she attends and does presentations, and she's really, really knowledgeable. She's agreed to come on to our channel, but I'm not telling you where or when. What you'll have to do is please subscribe now and set the alert bell, and you'll get to hear when that's actually live. So for those of you watching now, thank you. I can see the numbers going up. That's much appreciated. I want to bring one thing here that you can see. Do you have a question or do you have a comment? If there's something that you wish to get involved with, let us know. And if you type into either YouTube or the LinkedIn comments box, that will appear here on the right of my screen, and I can drag it across and maybe we can have a little chat about it. I'm planning to do maybe 10-15 minutes. We're going to talk about sheep worry, and I'm going to put my presentation on in a moment. If it's something that you have a particular interest or passion about, if you're a sheep farmer or you want to engage live, let me know. Tell me in the messages and I'll send you a link and you can quickly join me and bring your story into the live feed. So let's get cracking then. So I've asked you to subscribe. We know about any questions. I've got my running order down here, so don't forget anything. I have a presentation to go through. When the presentation's on, I'm going to bring myself out of screen, so the slides will be front and center and you'll be able to concentrate on those without my face yakking on in the background. And then I'm also going to show a little video to back up one of the points, and it's to do with companion animals. It's a weird concept. Who would have thought it? Donkeys like protecting sheep, but I'm going to show you that in action. I'm going to show you a little video of that. And then finally, I'm going to chuck up some slides because you're probably wondering, well, what do you know about sheep? And the answer is actually quite a lot. So in my job of rural crime prevention and agricultural health and safety advisor, I've been around many sheep farms over the years. I'm going to bring in a few slides, a few photos that I took on an estate up in Scotland about a year ago, where it was sheep dipping time and sheep vaccination and loads of stuff going on. So I'll show you what I saw during that time on the farm there, the huge sheep farm on the outskirts of Edinburgh, as it was. So anyway, let's get stuck in then. Let's remove that. I'm gonna bring in my little presentation, then I'll jump myself out. So don't forget, you can ask questions. They'll appear here. If you want to get involved, please feel free to do so. So presentation time. Let's bring it in, and then I'm going to bring myself out a screenshot. So sheep were in. It's a real issue. I'm going to show you some numbers in a moment, but if you can imagine, put yourself in the position of a sheep farmer. So that's your livelihood now. These fluffy things in the field, they are what earn you your money. That keeps you alive. It's your income and all the rest of it. You have a duty to look after their welfare and rear them safely and in accordance with animal welfare regulations. So that's your livelihood, and there's a job to be done there. Then introduced people who are dog owners, and often it's dog owners who are not savvy about the countryside. All of a sudden, and it's so relevant now, the weather gets nice and spring starts to come around. You see flowers growing in my back garden this very morning, and what a great opportunity to get the dog and go get the family and go for a walk in the countryside. And it's often the temptation is just to let your dog loose and off they go having to run around. But it's really dangerous, and I'm going to show you why that is. But more importantly, going back to the theme of doing stuff, I'm going to tell you what you can do to stop your dog from mauling other people's livelihood and income. It's a horrific crime. Let's be clear about that. It is a crime. I'm going to show you the penalties for those who are prosecuted, found guilty and subsequently punished, and it can be quite devastating on you, the individual. So let's move forward. I've taken these figures from the NFU Mutual's annual crime survey, and the latest release survey stated that in 2023, the scale of this issue amongst those who were engaged in the reporting were for the survey, for the NFU survey, the scale of the issue was over 2 million quid. That's nearly £2.5 million an annual cost, and that actually doesn't fluctuate that much year on year. So it changes a little bit, over time. Some years it will be up, some years it will be down, but on average it's around the 2 million quid mark, and that's the direct losses, insured losses, admittedly, but direct losses to people's businesses and livelihoods as a result of somebody else's dog being let off the lead or escaping and running amok amongst the sheep, running amok amongst the flock. I nearly missed an opportunity there. So thousands of sheep are attacked each year, and there's also information, if you want to go searching out further information, the National Sheep Association and other rural insurances, as well as the NFU Mutual, publish data. And what I'm going to do at the end of this presentation in the show notes on YouTube is provide you with some downloads. So you'll be able to download some case law about attacks that have taken place, and some of them are quite horrific. I'm not actually going to show you any of that on this because I don't know who's going to end up watching this, but I'll put the details of the case law as a download in the show notes, along with the slides that you're looking at now, and they're my gift to you. You're welcome to download those and keep them. So for now, let's establish it's a problem, and it's a big problem, and it scales over 2.5 million quid. But it runs deeper than that. So the impacts are quite frightening when you think about it. Imagine a dog running amongst the flock of sheep then with the intent of killing them. That's the aim of the dog. Once it's off lead and it's in rage mode, its aim is to kill. And the physical injuries are often fatal caused by dog bites. And you'll see there on bullet point number 1, trampling, the sheep they're terrified and they run and off they go. The huge flock of sheep running off trying to escape this crazy dog. Often that leads to broken legs and injuries. The smaller sheep and the lambs, etc., they're often trampled to death and killed even before the dog gets hold of them. So it's a huge problem. Lambs get separated, they get lost. That leads to abandonment from the parent, and also it can lead to starvation. And very often, if the ewes are pregnant, and then the stress of being chased by a crazy hound often leads to miscarriages in pregnant ewes. And then long-term, bullet point number 4 there, it's traumatic, and it can affect breeding programs, and it can really disrupt the farmer's ongoing program of breeding amongst his sheep. So it's a huge issue, not just financially, but amongst the actual sheep themselves. This is what normally happens. The mere fact that there's a dog wandering around in the field, the presence of the dog itself starts that panic. So even without any physical contact, an uncontrolled dog starts to cause panic amongst the flock. Once the flock or members of the flock start to panic and run away in fear, that spreads very, very quickly to the rest of them. Then suddenly there's all these frightened, panicked sheep running like crazy to get away from the dog that might not even be attacking at this stage. And so off they go in one particular direction. As you know, they're all sort of herd together. That leads to them tripping and falling, breaking legs, going over the sides of crevices or cliffs into quarries. It's an absolute nightmare. It causes stress, fear, anxiety, and real physical injury and death amongst the flock itself. We mentioned that the spontaneous abortions there and stillbirths, and then of course there can be fatalities if the dogs actually get hold of the sheep. Then there's going to lead to mauling, and dogs are going to kill sheep. That's the purpose of the dog once it's in attack mode, is to kill the sheep. So if you are the owner of a dog, there's consequences for you. I've got a more detailed breakdown of these particular sets of legislation that will give you more detail. And again, that'll be available as a download, both in the show notes and on my main website, rascs.co.uk. That's Risk and Safety Compliance Services. I'll also put it on farmsafetytraining.co.uk and ruralcrimetraining.co.uk. Details of that I'll pop on the screen in a moment. But for now, let's accept the premise that if you are a dog owner, you take your dog into the countryside, your dog gets off its leash, or you let it off its leash, it runs amok, it kills, causes alarm or distress or anxiety to other people's property, their sheep, their livelihood, then you are committing a criminal offence. And you can see that there you've got the Animal Welfare Act, the Protection of Livestock Act. That's quite an old bit of legislation. It's still in though. And people can go to prison in extreme cases for contravening those regulations and those acts of Parliament. And of course, in number 2 there, you can see that also you could be the subject of a civil claim from the farmer, the landowner, the owner of the sheep, because you're ruining his livelihood and you're ruining his animals or killing or scaring his animals. So there could well be a claim for damages following serious attacks. So yeah, there you go. So legal consequences can be quite severe. There's also the danger, you've got the Animals Act of 1971, that the farmer might shoot your dog. Now that, it's kind of an horrific outcome, but it's a preventable outcome, and it's an outcome that is your fault. So if you're the dog owner and it's your dog running amok, killing sheep and ruining people's livelihoods, and your dog gets killed, there's nowhere else to look other than in the mirror. It's your fault. You're not allowed to have your dog in the countryside running amok, killing sheep. So just bear that in mind, that as a last resort, and the farmer would need to be able to demonstrate that it was a last resort when it gets investigated, you could lose your dog. Your pet could be shot and killed by the farmer quite legally, as he's protecting his animals from being attacked and mauled and killed by your pet dog. Okay, so that's the consequences. Like most things, it's preventable. We always harp on about this in risk management, health and safety, rural crime prevention, whatever it might be. The actual end result, in this case, it's sheep being mauled and terrified and killed by these wandering and roaming dogs. The end result's actually preventable, but it means we have to do something. So we need to be aware of the issues. That's what today's talk's all about. So we're now aware of what occurs and the consequences and the scale of the issue. So what are we going to do about it? And on the left-hand side there, look, a bit of information for dog walkers, the owners of dogs. You're out in the countryside with your dog. Keep it on a lead. See, it really is that simple. Very tempting, isn't it? Out in the countryside, nice sunny day, fields forever, and miles of green grass or woodlands to let your dog off the lead. Once you let your dog off your lead, in these situations, it doesn't matter how lovely your pet is at home, at the point where the dog sees the sheep, you no longer have control. The dog's brain is wired such that it's going to ignore you. It's going to go into attack mode, and it's going to get onto those sheep and chase them and hunt them down, literally to kill them. It's a dog. That's his natural instinct. It's killer instinct. And of course, what ignites and fuels the fire is the sheep are terrified and running and panicking, and that further enrages the dog that now sees prey, and off he goes. And you're not going to stop it. I don't care who you are or how tame your dog is. When you're back home in the urban environment and he's sitting in front of the fire getting a stroker and having a biscuit, you're going to lose control of it once it's chasing and marauding sheep. So keep your dog on a lead. Stick to the footpaths. Don't assume your dog won't chase, because it will. Most dogs will. If your dog does get off, it's gone and you've lost control of it, if you can, alert the landowner, let the person know that the dog's out, and they might come and help you find that. Hopefully it's in their interest now to get your dog back on its leash where it should have been in the first place. And there are training courses available around the UK about controlling dogs in these environments, but it's very, very difficult. So you might want to, if your dog's a particular nuisance, get yourself on one of those courses. And there's a lot that farmers can do, and they do. Obviously they can make it very clear, put up clear warning signs about warning you, the dog owner, to keep your dog on a leash. Look after your dog, look after my sheep. And this is really relevant now. So now we're coming into March soon, and we're coming into lambing season. There's going to be a load of sheep out there. There's going to be loads of lambs around there. And of course, the lambs, easy targets for roaming dogs, easy targets. So the outcome is going to be horrific. They're going to get mauled and ripped apart. So, let's prevent that from happening. Any incidents need to be reported to the police. And this is, again, what farmers can do, is look at fencing and getting engaged on a wider scale, and educate the public, not just by posters, but engaging with local communities and schools and dog obedience classes. It's all about spreading the information, spreading the message on how to keep dogs safe. Keep the sheep safe from dogs. And guardian animals. Now, this is an interesting concept. What I want to do, I'm just going to put that down for a moment. But the concept of a guardian animal. So where there's flocks of sheep, we can introduce other animals into those areas, particularly where they're kind of fairly enclosed, fenced in, and other animals will guard your sheep for you. I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to bring in a little YouTube video because it's quite a cool concept. So in this particular video, it's just a quick snippet from YouTube. So and in this video, you're going to see sheep in the field getting chased by a dog. The dog's actually not there to kill the sheep. The dog actually is part of the family. But what this video does, it shows, and there's nothing horrific coming up. You're not going to see sheep being attacked or anything, but you're going to see them being chased by the dog. And the farmer's actually there. You'll hear his voice as well. So there's no stress. There's no real alarm. They're actually herding the sheep. But what they've done is they've got another animal in the field. Let me show you what the other animal does to protect the sheep. Yeah, just a quick video there. It was really quite good, isn't it? So the donkey, see the donkey keeping him positioning himself between the sheep, head down, attacking the dog when the dog tried to get near the sheep. That's the guardian animal principle. Right, okay then. So what have we talked about then? Let's see if there's any messages. Oh, I can't put that one on. That's not very nice. No, I'm only joking. There's not. But if you have any comments, there are people watching now live. But if you have any comments, type it into YouTube or your LinkedIn comment section. It will appear. I want to bring up those websites very briefly that I mentioned. Then I'll show you the pictures that I took when I was up on the estate in Scotland a little while ago. So further information on the stuff we talk about on this channel can be found there. ruralcrimetraining.co.uk and farmsafetytraining.co.uk. I used to be able to speak. There's also a ruralcrimes.com channel. Now that is live now. It's not in development, it's live, and there's loads of info and videos and all sorts of stuff on there now today at ruralcrimes.com. That's going to grow this year. There'll be more. It's going to develop an international flavor because, as I mentioned my guests earlier, coming up in the non too distant future, I'm going to have guests on from Australia and New Zealand. We're just lining up the time slots for those now. So we've got the speakers, and they're going to join me, and I can't wait to introduce you to those people as we try and spread this message around the world that rural crime and farm safety, whilst really important subjects leading to sort of massive amounts of lost revenue, money, finances on the rural crime side, and the stress and the heartache and all that kind of stuff that goes with crime. And then on the farm safety side, you've got people being injured and killed at work, stress and anxiety again there. It's all preventable as long as we do something. And that's our aim here, is to give you the tools to go and do stuff to prevent rural crime and to prevent accidents and incidents. Yeah, there you go. So there's them two channels on there. I'm on 23 minutes. I'm going to close it now in a couple of seconds. Let me just bring up that final presentation. This was a great, a brilliant sort of inspection audit visit, if you like. So it was up on an estate. It's got a very large estate. And it was really quite good fun. And at the time, on the particular day, I learned a lot of stuff. And let me tell you what I learned there. I was unaware of the value of those bad boys that you're looking at there. They just look like innocent little fellas and girls, but they're worth an absolute fortune. And I won't say which one, so I don't want to put the thing at risk. One of those is worth over £100,000. Unbelievable. The value of a quality animal, 100 grand. There's a lot of money sat right there. But anyway, my aim, what was I doing up there? So I was there in an advisory capacity. My job was to go up, spend a couple of days with the farm manager and all of the shepherds, just talk about what do you do and how do you do it, and let's go and have a look around, with a view to ensuring that they're safe in their work. All the lone working issues, working out in the heat and the cold, working with animals, driving tractors and utes and quad bike, all of those normal things that we encounter in the farming agricultural world. My job was to go and see how they do it, and we did a bit of training, and it was really good couple of days. And I got to meet these as well. Look, so there they are discussing who's the most valuable, and this one's worth 100 grand and he's only worth 80, 90 grand. So that's why they're separated. You know, he doesn't want to mix with a riffraff, but a lot of money involved. And it was bath time. This was really cool. And so all the sheep were brought in round from one side, from indoors in the large shed, and then the bathing trailer had been set up. So all the sheep and rams were herded along up the little metal walkway, and then plunged in. They went. They had a bit of a scrub, bit of a wash, get rid of all the mites and ticks and fleas and dirt and stuff like that, and then out they come from the other side. And it was, I have actually got a video. I'm not going to show. I can't show it now because time doesn't allow us to. But I've got a little video of when they finished having a bath, and then they're going to. The idea is they then come out the other side, go down a ramp, and off they go into the field. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because they're nice and clean and they feel tick free and having a great old day, they all tend to dive off. It's really cool. They just leap off and have a bit of a play and a gamble. But there you go. So it was bath time for the sheep. There's a couple of awkward ones who maybe don't want to have a bath, but they're going to get a bath anyway. So that fella's there is shoving them through, and say they come round the back and then they go up the ramp into the dip and off they go the other side. You can see them all herding there with a few guys making sure that no one gets away with it, and then yeah, that's them all bathed and happy. So there we go. That's me. Let's close it up then. 26 minutes, and never want to go over half an hour really. I'm sure everyone's got loads of stuff to do. Let's double check. Yeah, we're all good to finish off now then. So what's this been about? It's been about just a bit of engagement about sheep worrying and people taking their dogs out into the countryside for a little bit of a walk in the nice sunny weather and letting them off leash. It's a really bad idea. It's very costly. It's very dangerous. It stresses the animals out literally to death. They get trampled. Pregnant ewes will have will abort their lambs, and the farmer might shoot your dog, and then you might get prosecuted, and then you might get a claim against you for civil damages. Why not just keep your dog on the lead? How easy is that? So keep your dog under control, and don't assume that if your dog's off leash, you can call it back once it goes into rage and kill mode, because you can't. It doesn't happen. Dogs will go mental or chase down the prey with a view to killing it, and there's nothing that you can do about it once it's like in that mode. And then finally, a couple of things that we can do about it from the farmer's side. There's signs and education and sharing information amongst the wider community. And if you're a dog owner and you're going to go walking, keep it on the lead and perhaps consider attending classes and things. But yeah, they're very limited in their effect for sheep attacks. Great for other stuff, dog obedience, but in a sheep attack, it's a different kettle of fish. So there you go. You know where to find us. You've got both of those websites ticking across the bottom there. You can always find me on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, or more importantly, if you work in this environment, so if you work in agriculture, farming, landed estates, forestry, if you're an outdoors type person and you want me to talk about anything in particular, so if you have an issue that's affecting you or bothering you, or you're worried about, or you want to hear more about, well, just contact me and I'll put a little stream together. There's actually a form on both of those websites. There's actually, and you can do it anonymously. There's a form, and what you can, it's just a normal Microsoft form. Do you want to talk about anything? Fill it in, send me that. It will land into my inbox, and I will consider that as a future topic. I think we're probably just about done. So you know where I am. That's me. That's Richard Wade saying thank you very much, and stay safe out there and keep your dog on a lead as well. See ya.